Well, good morning and welcome to the Port of Long Beach. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Noel Hasagaba, Chief Operating Officer at the Port of Long Beach. And today is a very good morning. We will be discussing an exciting and historic announcement made earlier today by the U.S. Department of Energy and ARCHES, which stands for the Alliance for Renewable Clean Hydrogen Energy Systems. This news is that up to $1.2 billion in federal funding for creating a zero emissions future and thousands of green, good-paying jobs is coming to California. With us this morning to discuss this momentous announcement and what it means for the environment and the economy of Long Beach, Southern California, and the entire state of California are four key leaders: Long Beach Mayor Rex Richardson, Port of Long Beach CEO Mario Cordero, Joelle Barton, Business Manager and Financial Secretary of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 11, and Andrew Gonzalez, Council Representative for the LA Orange County's Building and Construction Trades Council. And I will note that both the IBEW and the Building and Construction Trades Council were both founding partners of ARCHES. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce someone who figures prominently in the port's transition to zero emissions and a zero emissions future, and one of the earliest and strongest champions of ARCHES. Ladies and gentlemen, Rex Richardson, Mayor of Long Beach.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Noel, and all of you who joined us this morning on this very busy day of news on this landmark funding announcement. Today, we learned that the California ARCHES proposal was successful in its bid to procure $1.2 billion of federal funding from the United States Department of Energy to help make this important project a reality. We're getting a hydrogen hub here in California, anchored right here at the Port of Long Beach. I want to thank some of our special guests. And so on behalf of the City of Long Beach and the Port, several people and entities worked really hard to make this happen. Let's start first and foremost with our guests from the labor community, representing those who will be building the green infrastructure to make this project possible and to make sure that we can carry out our clean energy goals. We also want to thank the Biden-Harris administration for its bold leadership and their visionary vision of repowering and restructuring the goods movement industry, one of the most significant industries in the United States. We also want to thank the United States Department of Energy for its foresight and hard work to lay the foundation for what would be a seminal moment in the decarbonization of goods movement, one of the nation's most prominent industries and economic drivers. We want to thank Governor Gavin Newsom. I had some time to talk with him just yesterday on this proposal, who has ensured that California has a pole position when it comes to the future of renewable and green hydrogen. And of course, we want to thank Dee Dee Myers, Director of the Office of Business and Economic Development, GoBiz, and her senior advisors, Tyson and Angelina, who helped to manage the ARCHES proposal. Both of them were instrumental in bringing it together to make sure it's a successful proposal. I also want to acknowledge and thank the members of the Long Beach City Council. First and foremost, our Vice Mayor, Cindy Allen, who brought this concept to Long Beach, was one of the first champions to say, let's have the City of Long Beach formally join and partner with ARCHES on this proposal. That would not have happened without her leadership. She brought it to me and she brought it to Council Member Mary Zendejas. And so the three of us last year got involved in making sure that this was successful. So this was a broad coalition of labor and business and government demonstrating what is possible when we work together across lines to envision a future that is inclusive for everyone. We also want to thank our congressional representatives, Congressman Robert Garcia and Nanette Diaz-Barragan, for their steadfast and effective advocacy for this funding. The people at ARCHES and the people at the Department of Education certainly get it. They know that here in Long Beach, we are committed to carbon neutrality by 2045. They know that we have a commitment through our climate action plan. They know that places like the Port of Long Beach need to have reliable systems of distribution for renewable hydrogen if we're going to power the zero emissions future. We need H2 hubs if we're going to transition to zero emissions operations at the docks of the San Pedro Bay. They know that economic progress and environmental progress are not mutually exclusive. They're two sides of the very same coin. Before I go further, I also want to note a few things. The Port of Long Beach is taking great strides and making great strides to improve air quality for almost 2 decades, and quite remarkably so, with cleaner trucks and the deployment of zero emissions cargo handling equipment, low sulfur ship fuels, advanced locomotives, and other advanced technologies. The port, our industries, and labor partners have dramatically cut emissions like diesel soot and pollution, which has reduced 91% since 2005. And the other parts to remember is that that's what we've done in the past 15 years, but it doesn't include where we're going and what we're continuing to commit to. So we're not resting on our laurels, not by a long shot. With bold new goals to zero emissions operations by 2035 and the proliferation of renewable energy, the port is taking aim at greenhouse gases. Both of our ports, Los Angeles and Long Beach, which together comprise the nation's largest sea complex, which we are partners on a portion of California, a major share of the United States cargo, and we're partners on this application. So with this funding, both ports seek to advance the use of hydrogen fuel in goods movement. Man, I gotta get that out. This will also involve deploying hydrogen fuel cargo handling equipment and mobile hydrogen fuel stations and trucks in marine terminals. Additional phases will add additional cargo handling equipment and support the statewide deployment of 5,000 hydrogen fuel cell heavy-duty trucks. In the weeks ahead, we'll learn more about specific funding plans that individual entities around the table will receive funding from the ARCHES proposal going forward. And so I am committed, the city of Long Beach is committed, my administration is committed to improving the environment here in Long Beach and beyond. And we know that we can count on ARCHES, we know that we can count on the Port of Long Beach to do its share to mitigate or eliminate environmental impacts. We are proud of our improvements and goals, especially the ongoing journey to become the world's first zero-emission seaport. It's impressive to see the breadth and depth of programs and initiatives that we've implemented and that we're continuing to explore. The future is now here in Long Beach and at the Port of Long Beach, and having a green Long Beach is also high on our citywide agenda. Just months ago, we approved a $3.2 billion budget, and that budget maintains our services, but also continues to prioritize climate and environmental sustainability. We are continuing to adapt Long Beach to climate change and reduce our carbon footprint, our contributions to causes that present unprecedented opportunities and challenges, opportunities to improve our health of our environment and quality of life for all of our residents. One of the most important documents referenced was not only our green port policy, but also our climate action adaptation plan. So we're certainly off to a great start. And this is certainly an important injection into that clean energy future where we prioritize economic progress, good quality union jobs, and environmental progress as we move forward. So I want to thank you and hand it back to Noel.
Thank you very much, Mayor Richardson. Let's give another hand to Mayor Richardson and our city council leaders who are here with us today. Our next speaker has been talking about hydrogen long before it became such a popular and buzzword in transportation. And that's our own CEO here at the Port of Long Beach, Mario Cordero.
Thank you, Noel. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to City Council and City of Long Beach. We've been a proud partner, the Port of Long Beach, but as the mayor has indicated, this was an endeavor that was commenced with the City Council under leadership of the council. The mayor, who at that time was a councilman, and the vice mayor, Cindy, and of course, Mary on the council. I got a call saying, you know, the port needs to look at this ARCHES concept coalition. And I said, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, we'll do it. And that's how we got involved, and the rest is history. So Long Beach is on the path to zero. This is a historic grant that has been announced today by the federal and the state partners. Will be seen as a pivotal moment in the creation of sustainable, green, and thriving economy for decades to come for the state of California and beyond. This funding from the bipartisan infrastructure law will play a vital role in the Port of Long Beach's efforts to develop a promising source of clean energy into a key fuel for port operations and goods movement as a whole for the future. In sum, ARCH's funding seeks to create a system of renewable hydrogen fuel distribution that will allow places like seaports to achieve zero emission operations with their hard to decarbonize goods movement equipment and vehicles. So you can see that on this reason alone, it was imperative for the Port of Long Beach to join this coalition. So when I got the call from the city council, there was no question we were moving forward. It would help not just Long Beach, but the San Pedro Bay complex, the largest gate containerized complex in the United States. As Port of Long Beach and Los Angeles move forward to deliver on their 2017 commitment, that is the CAP commitment back in November of 2017, to move towards zero emission. Even better, it puts us on the path to decarbonize other sources, including harbor craft, locomotives, and ocean-going vessels. Because that commitment that we made in November 2017 was that we would have zero emission cargo handling equipment in the port complex by 2030, and by 2035, zero emission trucks. This is truly a historic day. Aside from the fact that it's Friday the 13th, this day should really be memorable for all of us who have pushed hydrogen in terms of what we need to do to get to zero emission. So I'm here to tell you that those who may think it's based on luck, whether good or bad, I will tell you that this was a vision that was put together by our leaders. We are persistent. It has moved to innovation. And yes, there was political will to make this happen, as the mayor indicated. And from the Port of Long Beach perspective, I want to thank the staff who were the resource engines behind this initiative. Some who are here: Eleanor Torres, head of our government relations; Christine Houston, subject matter expert on this; Heather Tomley, our managing director of environmental planning; and Matt Arms. This team and this group and their team did a wonderful job working with ARCHES to really emphasize the importance of the ports moving towards zero emission. Allow me now again to echo Mayor Richardson's thanks to the Biden administration, the U.S. Department of Energy, Governor Gavin Newsom, Dee Dee Myers, head of GoBiz, and our congressional representatives, and of course, our Long Beach City Council members and our labor partners. Again, together, us stakeholders, we're going to keep our promise that we are going to move to zero emissions. We are still going to pursue electric technology, EV development. So let's not lose the sight of the fact that we will continue to do that. We must do that, but hydrogen opens up the portfolio of the future to have other alternatives to move towards zero emission, particularly with heavy duty trucks. We're enthusiastic about the hydrogen fuel cells powering not only cargo handling equipment, drayage trucks, as I just indicated, in the years ahead, and also tugboats, locomotives, and other vehicles used to move cargo. 1 year ago, the Port of Long Beach signed on to the ARCHES organization and held a conference right here in the promenade. It was attended by various legislative members of the state of California, and we all committed that we were going to move to not just hydrogen, but this is very important, to green hydrogen. And that's the goal here, and to move forward with a distribution network of this type of fuel. The Port of Long Beach then worked with the Port of LA to put together a request for funding to deploy hydrogen-powered equipment and fuel cell trucks. We developed a $600 billion proposed program encompassing both ports. We are excited to know that some of these plans will be funded by the grant that you've heard today that was announced. As part of this process, the Port of Long Beach in recent months issued a request of information to companies to gauge the interest in developing hydrogen infrastructure in the port complex. Numerous proposals were received, covering a variety of potential projects, such as hydrogen storage, distribution, and futuristic fueling projects. The information will be used to ascertain and determine what are the next steps for advancing hydrogen infrastructure in the port complex. We will have more information as to the specifics of this endeavor in the coming weeks. The Port of Long Beach and Los Angeles have partnered for many years, for example, in the 2006 creation of the Clean Air Action Plan, a sweeping, innovative, comprehensive plan to reduce emissions in this port complex. And not only have we reduced emissions significantly, but the plan now is to move to zero. So through the Clean Air Action Plan, we have achieved again, dramatic results and documented pollution metrics that have been substantially diminished. But again, we are not done with our endeavor to move to zero. Early this year, we announced implementation of a new policy at the Port of Long Beach, a signature commitment to decarbonization that we call ZERO, the Zero Emission Energy Resilient Operations. This is where we will coalesce with all our efforts at the port and beyond to achieve a decarbonized neutral future. We know we will need additional power for our zero emission programs. Indeed, this is part of our zero policy to create an infrastructure and power systems that we will need to ensure continuity and of course, move to resilient critical port operations. One idea we have, not under the Arches hydrogen umbrella, is to build a new terminal known as Pier Win. You know, the City Council has a number of suggestions and ideas, and this was one of them. Pier Win is designed to facilitate assembly and deployment of massive floating offshore wind turbines. This innovative project will help California meet its renewable energy goals. That goal is to move forward to 100% renewable energy in the future. Once completed, our Pier Wind project will move wind turbines taller than the Eiffel Tower, and we will move this to the respective lease areas up and down the central and northern California coast. Pier Wind aims to help California harness its power for natural ocean breezes in order to generate renewable energy at a lower cost and enhance air quality by reducing the state's reliance on fossil fuels. And last, I will say Pier Wind will be the largest facility specifically designated to accommodate the assembly of offshore floating platforms and turbines in the U.S. of any seaport. And again, moving forward with Arches, we look forward to continue the roadmap to zero. And this is a California initiative that we are going to be proud of and moving forward to the environmental leadership that Long Beach is known for. This is truly the dawn of a new era. It is the hydrogen era. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mario. Before I introduce our next speaker, I do want to acknowledge one of our harbor commissioners for the Port of Long Beach is with us, Vice President Bonnie Lowenthal. So you've heard from our mayor, you've heard from our port CEO about the positive impact this funding will bring to not just our environment, but the economy. And one of the most important ways this will help our economy is by creating a lot of high-paying jobs, green jobs. And so our next speaker is Joelle Barton, who's the business manager and financial secretary of the IBEW Local 11.
Thank you. Thank you and good morning. It's a pleasure to be here in the Port of Long Beach, who along with the city council members of Long Beach were instrumental in securing this grant for the first hydrogen hub Arches in the state of California. We look forward to working with them. This will create hundreds of thousands of jobs for working men and women who you see in the background here. And IBEW Local 11 believes wholeheartedly in the green economy, along with our Contractors Association, National Electrical Contractors Association of LA. We look forward to these projects that will clean the air around here. I've lived in Los Angeles, born and raised here around the ports, lived in San Pedro for a couple of decades. And we're used to seeing all the pollution from trucks going up and down the highway and the production of the ports. So we look forward to this green economy, green hydrogen, like Mayor Richardson stated, to clean up the air for the communities. And we also look forward to employing people from the community, giving them careers in the electrical industry. And these will be jobs not only for the new production, the new facilities, but also to transition from coal and oil and all that dirty fuel into this green economy, green energy to secure the trucks and move on to a bright future for our children and our grandchildren, because we want the air to be clean, of course, as everyone does. And we look forward to this funding and getting the job done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joelle, for being here along with the women and men of the IBW. Thank you so much for what you do day in and day out. Our next speaker is also going to speak to the very positive impacts of jobs that this funding will bring, and that is Andrew Gonzalez, who's a council representative for the LA Orange County's Building Construction Trades Council. Andrew.
Good morning. What a great day for the city of Long Beach. What a great day. I first want to thank everyone who's involved in making this day possible. First, Mayor Richardson and the City Council for having the leadership and foresight to go after such funding like this. Of course, city staff who had the professionalism and tenacity to go after these funds, which are highly competitive funds to go after. And we're glad they're here in the city of Long Beach. And finally, I want to thank President Joe Biden for having the strength and the leadership to bring these funds here to the city of Long Beach. You know, he has always said that he is a champion of labor, and these funds double down on that promise of being a champion of labor, putting hundreds of thousands of our men and women to work here in the city of Long Beach. So a great thank you to all of them. You know, these funds are so desperately needed here to help us transition to a green energy future. And it's vital that we put America's men and women to work in these new green industries. So the future is now, and we're building it today with union labor. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Well, this concludes the speaking portion of our program. And of course, as this is a press event, at this time, we'd like to shift to Q&A. And I'm going to have our Assistant Director of Communications, Stephanie Montoya-Mariski, help facilitate the Q&A.
Sure. If we have any questions from those online, please use the Q&A tab and leave your name and your organization in the chat. Do we have any questions from those reporters in the audience? Okay, we'll give it a few moments as people get ready. Just to keep the conversation going while everyone gets ready, this question is for the mayor. Mayor Rex Richardson, would you like to expand on how this project will help the community and what benefits we can see here in Long Beach?
Sure, I'll address some of that, but I think I want to first just start by just acknowledging that this wouldn't have been possible, again, underscoring, without the leadership of President Biden. The Bipartisan Infrastructure Act and Inflation Reduction Act are two landmark pieces of legislation that are enabling communities to do just this, envision clean energy future and create jobs and economic progress and as we go along the way. And that's what this project absolutely does. So in order to produce new hydrogen energy, there are a lot of things that need to be built, from hydrogen storage to production and manufacturing production facilities. Each of those is going to have positive benefits in that it's investments into green infrastructure, which creates jobs. Also, when you move, let's say, a truck in our port away from diesel, there's multiple benefits in our communities. So you have the benefit of cleaner air in frontline adjacent communities like the West Side. It allows us to, the infrastructure that is needed to produce that hydrogen, there's a lot of electricity that's used in that process. We tax that electricity in Long Beach, and we're able to generate revenue to be able to fund services, police officers, firefighters, right? And the investment in that infrastructure, again, creates green jobs. And so there's a multiple benefits to investments into new energy and new technologies. But again, these are just ideas. If you don't have the partnership from this administration, who's been very, very clear from the very beginning that this administration has been very clear from the very beginning that they are investing in jobs, in union jobs that pay a living wage with project labor agreements and infrastructure, which is something that we go back to. We go back to the United States. When you have a bad economy, go back to what we know works. And we know investing in infrastructure absolutely works. So again, we give all of this credit to the Biden administration.
Great, thank you. I still don't see any questions in the Q&A. So anyone from the audience, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, I think what we have here is the two ports committed to matching funds. I think overall for the port complex, you're talking about $600 million put together in total. And for the Port of Long Beach, I think you're talking about at the very least, 300 million with regard to projects that would be totally dedicated to zero emission equipment, but more specifically, hydrogen technology. So it's a great start. And again, looking to the future, given the Biden-Harris resolve on this issue, there will be more funding to come in the future. And I'm talking about long-term to accomplish our commitments. But yeah, it's a great, like I said, it's a great day for the state of California, a great day for the city of Long Beach, and certainly a great day for our neighborhoods and communities that will see us move towards zero emission.
All right, I think that wraps it up for today. Thank you, everyone. Noel?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for being here for this historic event. Again, I want to thank Mayor Richardson, Vice Mayor Cindy Allen, Councilmember Mary Zendejas, as well as our Port CEO Mario Cordero, Vice President of our Harbor Commission Bonnie Lowenthal, also Diana Tang from Long Beach Utilities. Yeah. As well as our women and men that represent our workforce that keeps our economy going, both IBEW and NECA, as well as the LA and Orange County Building Trades Council. Let's give them all a hand. This concludes our program. Thank you again for coming. Okay.